said, congrats to Brazil for fair and free and credible elections. How could you possibly know that moments after you have a tabulation? So it's, methinks the lady doth protest too much. It's very, very, it smells fishy on every level. It feels like the fix is in with the global media. They're not even reporting millions of people. This is the largest street manifestations I think that I could report on that I've ever seen historically since the fall of communism, since the 80s in Europe in the late 80s and early 90s. There's never been manifestations anywhere in the world of this scale. We're talking not millions, but we're approaching now 8 figures, tens of millions across a country of 210, 220 million people. So it's really massive. And it's not only in Brazil. You had the 8 Supreme Court justices who were appointed by Lula himself, who let him out of prison and annulled his conviction. He was convicted 3 times in 3 separate courts, and they annulled it. And to get him on the electoral battlefield so they can put this fix in. And they went to New York to speak about how they saved democracy with, get this, the incoming Lula cabinet ministers. And this was scheduled months ago at the Harvard Club on West 44th Street, Manhattan. So to get the space, they had to reserve it months ago, a forum about Brazilian democracy. And you had the 8 Supreme Court justices appointed by Lula in New York talking about how they saved Brazilian democracy. And guess what? People protested. People came out to 44th Street. The exiled journalists in the U.S. who've been censored, Alan Dos Santos, who has an Interpol red notice levied against him by Moraes, and Interpol's declined to prosecute it and to execute it. He came out and led with a bullhorn. And these guys had to have very, very deep security, these justices, to get in and out of the car. Everybody, thousands of people were yelling at them, calling them, curses and saying, you have destroyed our democracy. And even today, I saw a clip of a woman in Lula's camp through the Sao Paulo Forum who said, we have to save Brazilian democracy just like we have to save Maduro's Venezuelan democracy. This is the way Lula, the Sao Paulo Forum, these communists think. It is truly a mental disorder, and they believe the ends justify the means to take over Brazilian democracy the way they have in Venezuela, and sadly now in Colombia and Chile as well. Sao Paulo Forum people now run those countries.
It's so sad to see, and Brazil is a lovely country. We will see if the voice of the people prevails, and keep an eye on this going forward. Thank you so much, Matthew Tiermont. Such a detailed picture of what we're not getting to hear much of in America. Thank you.
My pleasure.